Hey guys, Ray here today. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I'm here to talk about the Common App essay that got me into Purdue. For context, I am a rising junior at Purdue studying biological engineering, and I'm going to share the essay that I wrote about 2.5 years ago. I know right now my sister is going through that process, and she is coming up with some really bad ideas and some good ones too. She's actually right over here. Do you want to say hi? She's studying for SAT, so she's kind of listening to all of this. Say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, she's going through a lot right now. I would pan the camera to her. She kind of looks a little crazy.
Can you actually stop?
I shared my essay to her, and I shared my essay to Sonia, and she kind of sparked a lot more ideas on what to write and everything. So I just thought to put it on YouTube because when I was writing my essay, I kind of looked at some TikToks, and I remember this one essay, that Harvard girl, the letter S or whatever, and that kind of stuck with me for a long time while writing my essays. So I'm just gonna be going right in and sharing the video, and also don't forget to like and subscribe to new videos that happen. I'm gonna post probably more than once a week, so stay tuned. I actually have not looked at this since 2.5 years ago until my sister made me read it to her. Let's get into it. I hated that time-consuming, elbow-twisting, water-wasting device known as the spatula. It was the villain that attempted to rob me of my attention from other, more important tasks. I loathed this tedious series of steps necessary to prepare a fully cooked meal. Throughout the 20th century, women worked hard to get out of the kitchen. I had better things to do with my time. When I started junior year, my busy schedule thankfully left no room for cooking. My mom stopped asking me for help in the kitchen as I was in the basement, what I like to call my dungeon, for hours. Over time, it started to become less about avoiding the spatula and more about the next project. I would sacrifice spending time with my mother on her birthday to study for an upcoming test, skip high school football games to have Zoom meetings with my book editor, and work on internship projects until late at night. It felt like a never-ending race to the finish line. Last summer, my parents saved enough money for a family trip to Paris. I was ecstatic. I envisioned sparkles of romance in every corner, being surrounded by Parisians drinking their afternoon espresso in cafes. However, my excitement was immediately shattered when my mother announced that we were going to a French cooking class. When we walked through the door, we were greeted by Chef Anthony. He motioned for us to follow him to collect the ingredients needed to make our 4-course meal. My stomach growled. You mean we had to go back into the heat and buy all the ingredients before we even began making the food? A whiff of rusted heat came over me as we headed to the market. The plethora of fresh baguettes and pastries were lovingly handmade by an African man recently immigrated from Senegal. It smelled of brown raisin bread and warm cookies. We left the bag filled with bread, juicy, red tomatoes, green rosemary, and purple onions. Returning to the kitchen, the chef tasked me with stirring a pot of rich, dark chocolate with the help of my nemesis, the spatula. As I reluctantly folded the pudding, I overheard my family sharing stories in anticipation of the great meal ahead. Taking the spatula away from me, my little brother insisted on whipping the pudding to demonstrate his strength after receiving his first purple belt. Since when did he get a purple belt in karate? The time it took to finish all the stirring, mixing, and dashing seemed to allow everyone to bring their guard down and share more stories that I barely knew about. At that moment, I realized that cooking was not a waste of time, but an opportunity to be in touch with people you love. What else had I missed when I was busy completing tasks full speed ahead? Perhaps I missed the stories of my mom's relationship with her grandmother who had recently passed. Or perhaps the stories of my dad as a paperboy, or my grandfather sharing his experience during the partition of India in 1947. Looking back, I regret that I refused the call of the spatula one too many times because I lost the subtle nuances of joy in the hurriedness of life. While I still prioritize work, I now spend time at the kitchen table instead of the dungeon. I've started welcoming unplanned moments of connection, from tucking my little brother in at bedtime to jumping at my mom's invitation to watch teenage romantic comedies, to spontaneously biking with my sister. Even though I'll always feel more comfortable sticking to a schedule, the unexpected cooking class helped me become more open to letting life in. It turns out that mixing people and stories make for a beautiful symphony of flavors with a spatula as my director, ultimately creating the perfect recipe for living in the present. So that was my essay. You kind of keep in mind that I actually applied for food science in Purdue. So this kind of tied it all in because it showed that I have food allergies. All my supplement essays were about food allergies. I can read that if you're interested in that as well. But kind of the surface of it all is that it was about a cooking class. But if you kind of dive deeper, I talk more about my personality within the cooking class and like the spatula being my director of it all. So I'm the type of person who's like really, really structured to a schedule, and I wanted college just to know that. So I don't have time to cook. This is just not a priority to me, is basically what I'm saying. And so when I was writing my essay, I made sure that I incorporated the character traits that I wanted the administrators to see when accepting me. Discipline, hard work, sticking to a schedule, always prioritizing studying and getting good grades and being successful is basically what I wanted colleges to see. And so then I curated a story behind it. And this, obviously the story was real. It actually happened. It was like a great experience because I got to actually learn about different things that I missed when I was writing my book or doing editing meeting or doing my podcast. And so like I had to really navigate that. And for me, it was a moment of wokeness in a way because I was like, oh, like how did I not know that my family members did all of that? I feel like this is something that happens to a lot of people, right? They get so caught up in work and studying that you forget and you miss the actual main and highlights of your life that you will probably always remember. The memories, for example, with your family cooking in a kitchen. And so I realized that after working so hard and doing other things. And so that was a way to kind of tie everything in at the end. And also another tip of writing an essay, do something different in the beginning. I think the first sentence is the most important. My first sentence was, I hated that time-consuming, elbow-twisting, water-wasting device known as a spatula, right? It's something like, okay, wait, why do you like hate a spatula so much? Like, are you like okay? Like, are you good? Something that kind of catches the eye, right? Something different. And that's kind of the inspiration I got when I was watching videos because this girl who got into Harvard, she said, oh, I hate the letter S. That was like her first sentence. And I was like, oh, let me do something like that. Let me do something that's catching right away. Let me do something that's non-normal, you know, something that no one really says. So you kind of have to be a little bit different in that aspect. And that's what I did. Hope you guys enjoyed the essay. I hope that y'all learn a little bit something from these tips. Yeah, if you have any other questions, please don't forget to comment below, like and subscribe for new content and videos. I would love to maybe give more in-depth tips and advice for college essay. In this video, I kind of just want to share the essay to y'all and hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much. I don't know why I'm saying y'all so much. Like, I literally go to Purdue in Indiana. Maybe is like rubbing off on me. I don't know. Thank you. Bye.